Welcome, you guys, to Celestial Nerds, Bits, Hexfires. Um, Podcast. We're still working on a name for this, so give us a little bit of time on that. But tonight we're going to be touching on, I think you see that individual in the background. Well, it should be Mothman. Is it like a picture there, dude? Like, I
Yeah.
can't. Oh, all right, so we're good. And with this picture that we have here, we are going to be touching on Mothman, we're going to be touching on the Jersey Devil, and then we're going to be ending with Amityville. We're doing a reboot, I guess you could say, of this episode because we didn't have very good information. We didn't, myself, I didn't think we did a good enough job on the topic. What do you think, Bradley?
We weren't really prepared. Come to find out, there's a lot more to it than we originally thought.
Oh yeah,
It definitely deserves more discussion.
That I definitely agree with. So with that, we're gonna start. So what we know about the Mothman just right off the rip is that he's up in Virginia and through that area around a particular military facility that produced TNT and explosives, and presumably is still residing in one of the bunkers or the ammunition dumps where they kept the explosives during or after the construction of the devices that they were turned into. And with that, he would come out during times of peril, I guess you could say. Like, he was a sign that these things were going to happen. And with that, I guess we'll go back and forth on like reading.
Yep, I'm down.
Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first there, my dude?
Let me see. I think I still have it pulled up. I'll go first.
Okay. And while we'll take turns, of course, we will be building
awesome gunplas.
Yes,
I'm doing Nanju today.
Yes, and I am doing a bath.
So let's start here. Move this. Just a basic up front, just a Wikipedia version, and then we'll get deeper into it from here. In West Virginian folklore, the Mothman is a humanoid creature reportedly seen in the Point Pleasant area from November 15th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967. The first newspaper report was published in the Point Pleasant Register, dated November 16th, 1966. Couple seen man-sized bird, creature something. The national press soon picked up the reports and helped spread the story across the United States. The source of the legend is believed to have originated from sightings of the out-of-migration sandhill cranes or herons, which are both birds, yes, which don't look anything like it.
Yeah.
The creature was introduced to a wider audience by Gray Barker in 1970 and was later popularized by John Keel in his 1975 book, The Mothman Prophecies, claiming that there were paranormal events related to the sightings and connection to the collapse of the Silver Bridge. The book was later adapted into a 2002 film starring Richard Gere. An annual festival in Point Pleasant is devoted to the Mothman legend. Sweet. So So here it goes. Talks about that military base. On November 15th,
Is there a picture
1960.
of it?
Yes, I believe so. No, there is not.
Like, there's no pictures of any of the area. I forgot to grab those. Freaking hell.
Uh,
What I will do, though, is I will show some of the other pictures that I have of him.
um, let's go here. On November 15th, 1966, two young couples from Point Pleasant, Roger and Linda Scarberry, and Steve and Mary Mallett, told police they had seen a large black creature whose eyes glowed red standing at the side of the road near the TNT area, the site of a former World War II munitions plant. Linda Scarberry described it as a slender, muscular man, about 7 feet tall, with white wings, and said that she was unable to discern its face due to the hypnotic effect of its eyes.
And
Distress. Huh?
if you look here, you can see what looks like in this picture. Someone attached to the side of it, and it's very noticeable. From like, you can see it looks like it's got something on its back, and then you see like a head, and then arms and legs. So there's that. See here, there's another concept art of it. And
Nice.
then we got this one where it looks like he's flying away, like he's fleeing the scene of like in Spider-Man.
That makes sense. I mean, he's not going to be around
Oh, that's not
too long.
what. But yeah, that's everything we've got on that particular bean as far as pictures go.
I can probably get another picture of the area in a minute.
Uh,
Distressed, the witnesses drove away at high speed and said that the creature flew after the car, making a screeching sound. It pursued them as far as Point Pleasant city limits.
that's crazy.
That is creepy. During the next few days, other people reported similar sightings after local newspapers reported it. Two volunteer firemen who saw it said it was a large bird with red eyes. Mason County Sheriff George Johnson commented that he believed the sightings were due to an unusual large heron he termed a shite poke.
Huh.
Uh, Contractor Noel Partridge told Johnson that when he aimed a flashlight at a creature in a nearby field, its eyes glowed like bicycle reflectors. Additionally, he blamed buzzing noises from his television set and the disappearance of his German Shepherd dog on the creature. Wildlife biologist Robert L. Smith at West Virginia University told reporters that the description and sightings all fit the sandhill crane, which, I mean, call me crazy, but I don't think so. That don't look like
Lots of pictures we've
right.
seen. Like, how do you get a crane? I thought cranes had kind of an elongated neck, and not to mention a more slender head, less humanoid form.
Right, which they do. In this
Huh.
picture, I have a picture right here of it. And it's, yeah, long legs. It's not muscular in any way.
Yeah.
Quite clear bird.
Why don't you screen share it, and then so everybody else can see it?
Oh, it's not up here?
Right, no. There we go. Okay.
You still see it?
Yeah, I can see
Okay.
your web browser now. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, here's the sandhill crane that he was talking about.
Yeah, there would have to be more than one of them together for that thing to be just.
Right. There's no
And,
way.
and from what I understand, most cranes only if they do eat meat, it's like basically fish. I
Fish.
don't think they
Right.
would go after a German Shepherd, and I don't think a German Shepherd would get taken down by something like that.
No, look at the size of this dog here.
German Shepherds are, yeah,
It's,
that's a stout dog.
yeah, no way.
No.
Um, a large American crane almost as tall as a man with a 7-foot wingspan, featuring circles of reddish coloring around the eyes. The bird may have wandered out of its migration route and therefore was unrecognized at first because it was not native to the region. I just don't think so. But due to the popularity of the Batman TV series at the time, the fictional superhero Batman and his rogues gallery were permanently featured in the public eye, while the villain Killer Moth did not appear in the show. The comic book influence of both him and Batman is believed by some to have influenced the coinage of the name Mothman in the local newspapers. Following the December 15th, 1967 collapse of the Silver Bridge and the death of 46 people, the incident gave rise to of legend and connected the Mothman sightings to the bridge collapse. I've been to that bridge, seen it
Wow.
right from because I was at the Mothman Museum and stuff. According to Georgian I'm not even going to try to pronounce that word. Russian UFOologists claim that Mothman sightings in Moscow foreshadowed the 1999 Russian apartment bombings. The Mothman Prophecies is a major motion picture loosely based on the 1975 book of the same name by John Keel.
Who I think later on we found out that he actually had some kind of tie to the actual Mothman, or I heard about it on some of the shows that I've watched.
Hmm. Could be possible.
I mean, he could have done research and, triggered something to manifest.
Right. Brought him more out in the open.
Yeah. And now that, proverbial cat's out of the bag, it's kind of hard to, like it's been said, it's kind of hard to unsee something once you've seen it.
Right, right. And regardless of what these people seen, they've seen something.
Yeah.
You don't get freaked out and scared and panic like that. I don't think it was a damn bird.
And I don't think it was delusions of grandeur either.
No, no. I was trying to look up those people while we were doing the research for this.
Mm-hmm.
The first people, the four people, the two couples, and I
Yeah.
couldn't really find anything on them. So I don't think they were alcoholics or drug addicts. This is back in '67.
If anything, they were probably stoners and, shrooms,
Right,
something like that. But even then, even when you're on shrooms or some kind of hallucinogenic, there has to be some kind of basis there for the trip to take hold of.
right. Yeah, you just
And
don't conjure.
yeah, I mean, sometimes there is, but there's something loosely based already going on for your brain to grab a hold of to run with something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I just don't see them mistaking a bird even while they're tripping like that
And I don't,
for something that resembles a humanoid moth.
and that's why I don't really agree with what it just said about the popularity of Batman at the time with the killer moth, and it's like the killer moth didn't even look like what people are describing as the Mothman.
Nope.
I mean, he was.
He was actually phased out shortly after that, like
Yes.
in the comic books.
Yep.
Which I find kind of lame. Because I thought it was a decent character.
Or coincidental.
Uh,
You know how they were back in the day. They thought it was probably rotting your brain, and look what it's making people do.
yeah. I mean, look what they said about metal back in, like the 60s and 70s, man. Like,
right.
There was whole coalitions of moms going off. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. We need to get rid of it.
Yeah, it's ruining our kids.
Well, what ruined the kids were parents like that.
Yep. I agree. Totally agree with that.
Like I know when I was growing up, and I finally got out of the environment that I was in, and had actual freedom. Like, I wilded out. I
Yeah.
mean, I turned into a baby kid. Started
Yeah.
getting stoned and everything else, and then quit all that because I had a kid.
Yep.
And we'll get into that some other time. Speaking of which, I would like to make an announcement right quick.
Yes,
This is
please.
for my own good, because I am super stoked about this. Give me a second here. All right, so for all you people out there that don't know anything about me, my name is Big Cloudwise, that I like to go by anyways. Native name. And if you read on some of my profiles, I'll be posting a link tree soon enough. A lot of my profiles say something of such like, I'm a nerd in recovery, and I am. I actually have 2 years clean off of methamphetamines this very day.
Nice. Congratulations.
I have 12 years clean off of heroin myself, and I have 10 years clean off of spice.
Nice.
Some people refer to that one as Katie or synthetic pot. Either way, those three drugs damn near killed me, or did kill me. I've actually OD'd with a needle in my arm. The only time I've ever shot up.
Wow.
That cured that one real quick. Anyways, let's get away from that part of the morbid topic, and let's just get to, if you guys ever need to get off of a substance or find resources to get off of a substance or something of that nature, you guys can find me on Facebook under Big Cloudwise. Um, and please reach out to me if you're watching this and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you want some help to better yourself and get away from these things. Please let me know. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I'm not afraid to share my experiences and try to help somebody with this.
Oh,
Back
yeah.
when I was going through this, before I actually found the help I needed, I would have loved to come across something like what I'm doing right here, right now. That would
Right.
have been awesome. Probably would have got my head out of my rectum a little bit better too. But
Don't
all
give
right, let's get
things
back to the
you
show.
recognized it and got away from it.
Yeah, 2006 to 2016 was my longest stint. Got
Badass.
clean for almost 3 years. Was a week out from 3 years and relapsed.
Wow.
Unfortunately, relapse is a very much a thing in everyday life for an addict. But I don't let that stop me. I'm aware of it, and when I get into a certain mind frame, I have a support system that also includes a professional that helps me with mine. He is a recovery coach, and the great thing about recovery coaches are they have to be in recovery them damn selves from some kind of substance to be able to get the certification.
Nice. Yeah, experience definitely helps.
Yeah.
They know how to get down to your level. They've been there, done
And
that too.
my recovery coach, he's also a nerd. Even if you wouldn't look at him, he's got that preppy surfer boy like look to him. But he even watches Gundam.
Badass.
Yeah.
Gotta watch Gundam.
Hell yeah. It's what, like, who doesn't like to see giant robots fighting?
And destroying shit. I know, dude. I'm on the same page.
I know. And if you can't get if you can't get your nerd on while you're watching something like that, you're not a true nerd in my retrospect.
I totally agree.
And I'm being sarcastic with that because I know there's just fantasy nerds, and there are giant robots out there that are powered by mana. Knights and Magic is one of those series that robots are like that.
Nice. Yeah, nerd is nerd. I mean, it doesn't matter what genre you're nerd of.
All I'm saying is that
Right.
giant robots fighting stuff, even if it's giant robots fighting kaiju, that's still awesome.
Yeah. Yes. I love that shit too.
Oh, and if you guys can catch the show Monarch, it is awesome.
What is
You
it?
can Monarch.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's on
Mom.
Apple Plus, and it is a kaiju movie, all based around the people that track and monitor Titans in the Godzilla universe.
Oh wow.
Hmm. And it's got
Yeah.
like right off the rip, it's got. I'm trying to remember his name. He's a very famous actor. Kind of looks like Patrick Swayze in a way, but not a but isn't
Uh,
Patrick Swayze. It's one of those like right around that time frame. The actor.
I know. I think I might know who you're talking about.
Trying to remember other stuff he's played in. Um, he's an action star though from like 80s and 90s. Um,
Did
but
you?
yeah, he's in there and he plays an army sergeant and he's actually trying to help like the main characters find a person and yeah, it gets crazy real quick.
That sounds cool. I'm gonna have to check it out.
But it's an awesome show from what I've seen. 5 episodes already out. Tomorrow night will be another one. If you guys don't have Apple Plus, like I'd look into getting it. Like I have a friend that allows me access to his account, and that's the only reason.
I have Apple Plus because I have iPhones, and it's just easier that way.
I'm sorry, but they're not iPhones, they're iFucks.
I love it. I'm not an Android person. I've had them a few times, and I just can't.
Well, you see, I'm an IT guy, and it costs anything that's going to cost me $400 to download and then doesn't work properly. Like, yeah, I'm not doing too well with. Anyways, you want like what else? Is that all
Hold
or
on.
what?
We got
If you want to finish this one out, I'll touch base on the Jersey Devil at least.
okay.
We might take a break before we do Amityville.
Yeah, yeah, that's a long one. There's a lot of stuff to touch on in there, and that's why I'm so
Like
into
we might have
reading.
to like touch base on it on like the major stuff, and then later on do a whole nother EP on that particular subject.
Right, right. Because there's so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of history there. We're going back to pre-Revolutionary War on that one, I believe.
Yes. Big time. Like at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay. Yeah, we got this. Get that cut out right quick before I mess it up. Analysis. Folklorist Jane Harold Brunvand, I'm not whatever, notes that Mothman has been widely covered in the popular press. Some claiming sightings connected with UFOs, and others claiming that a military storage site was Mothman's home. Brunvand notes that recountings of the 1966 and 67 Mothman reports usually state that at least 100 people saw Mothman, with many more afraid to report their sightings, but observed that written sources for such stories consisted of children's books or sensationalized or undocumented accounts that failed to quote identifiable persons. Brunvand found elements in common among many Mothman reports and much older folk tales, suggesting that something real may have triggered the scares and became woven with the existing folklore. He also records and condoled, I don't know what that is, tales of Mothman supposedly attacking the roofs of parked cars accompanied by teenagers. Conversely, Joe Nickel says that a number of hoaxes followed the publicity generated by original reports, such as a group of construction workers who tied flashlights to helium balloons. You dick.
Yeah, that's kind of a dickish thing to do.
Yeah, that's a dick move.
Not unless you're doing it on the sole purpose to scare the crud out of someone that deserves it. That's a
Uh,
whole nother story.
that's probably what they did. Just
Well,
to
at least
fuck
they probably
people.
thought that they were. Who knows how many? Like, I'm not saying every construction worker does, but the
Yeah,
ones that
right.
I've encountered, they all like to kick back a few dozen six packs after work.
Yeah, and fuck with people. Yeah, I know a couple of those myself.
Yeah,
Good dudes. I'm not saying nothing bad, like what you were saying. I'm
like they just get a few in them, and
yep, and just be stupid.
yep. Hence
So,
why we got. That's why a lot of people that like watched Jackass got into it.
right, right.
I'm not saying that stuff wasn't funny because a lot
No,
of it was.
totally hilarious. Yes, I agree.
And then there was some of it just like, what the hell are y'all thinking? And then later on in life, I'm like, drugs.
Yeah. Yep, yep, yep. Um, where did I end up at?
You were at
Okay. Nickel
conversely, I believe,
Nickel
yeah.
attributes the Mothman stories to sightings of bared owls, suggesting, let's take a look at one of those owls.
Like yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
I'm not buying that either.
No, I mean, that clearly is an owl.
Yeah, and I don't think the Mothman has the ability to rotate its head that far either. I
Right.
might be wrong because there's
Yeah, I mean, we don't know for sure. That's definite.
yeah.
Um, Suggesting that the Mothman's glowing eyes were actually red eye effect caused from the reflection of light from flashlights or other bright light sources. Benjamin Radford points out that the only report of glowing red eyes was secondhand, that of Shirley Hensley quoted her father. One of the prevailing hypotheses associated with Mothman at the time of the original sightings was that it was misidentified sandhill crane due primarily to the size of the bird as well as to the reddish flesh around the crane's eyes. Daniel A. Reed examined the migration patterns and historically reported sightings of sandhill cranes in the area of Point Pleasant and proposed that in cases where eye shine was not noted. It was statistically more likely that witnesses were seeing and misidentifying a great blue heron instead. There's no picture.
Wow. An even larger bird.
Right. According to the University of Chicago psychologist David A. Gallo, 55 sightings of the Mothman in Chicago during 2017, published on the website of self-described 14 researchers. Um, Lone Strickler are a selective sample. Gallo explains that he's not sampling random people and asking if they saw the Mothman. He's just counting the number of people that voluntarily came forward to report a sighting, according to Gallo. People more likely to visit a paranormal-centric website like Strickler's might also be more inclined to believe in and therefore witness the existence of Mothman. Fuck you. So just
And
because I believe in shit, fuck you.
that is simply the unsophisticated, closed-minded apparatus of a sham of a being that would say something like that, that has everything to badmouth about people like us, and instead of just trying to say, well, it's a possibility at least, and we'll leave it at that.
Right, right.
Like, I mean, some people can't even let that go, so, screw them. Not literally, but yeah.
Right, right. Um,
I'd be a pretty big wood screw.
yes, it would be. Uh, some pseudoscience adherents, such as UFOologists, paranormal authors, and cryptozoologists, claim that Mothman was an alien, a supernatural manifestation, or a previously unknown species of animal. In his 1975 book, Kale claimed that the Point Pleasant residents experienced precognitions, including premon I don't know what that word is, of the collapse of
Premonitions, in other words.
premonitions. There you go. Of the collapse of the Silver Bridge. UFO sightings, visits from inhuman or threatening men in black, and other paranormal other phenomenon. That's all we got on that
Fun
one.
little fact about the MIB. The guy that founded the FBI, Hoover himself, doesn't even know who these individuals are, and if they are indeed safe for United States government and us, its people. So, with that being said, if the guy that founded the FBI is saying that, something's up. You
Something's
might want to listen to that, government.
up.
Your own head honcho of the FBI doesn't even know about these guys, like, if they're good. So if any of y'all have something to say about it, I doubt you will, but you ought to say it.
Right. I agree. I totally agree. Like
But
something's up here. What's going? Well, who is this? What's going on?
exactly. And like I said, I doubt they will, but still, I had to say it to put it out there.
I agree. Totally agree.
Don't put something on if you want it to manifest and you don't put it out in the ether, that's on you, the individual that didn't do it.
Yes. Totally agree. That's all I got on Mothman.
All right. So, like, out of all that, it seems like there's a whole lot more speculation with this particular possible cryptid than I originally thought. Even
Yes.
because I mean, it. I realize that, like, with most of the Earth, we're still exploring like parts of it, and like we said earlier in a private conversation, we've studied more about the moon than we have about our own oceans.
Right.
Like,
And it's only
holy,
7%.
yeah,
That's small.
yeah, that is. We're so worried about everything that's existential, I guess is a roundabout way you could say it. Like
Yep.
us as a country, we need to come together more so than push apart, and that's all I've seen like us as a country have been doing lately.
Well,
Like,
a lot of that's driven by corporate media and the government too. They don't want us to come together and have these conversations because then that puts them in a situation of having to tell the truth and then losing their leverage on us.
I can understand that there, like with some things, there would be kind of a panic, but I don't think it would be as big as a panic as the government
I
thinks.
agree.
Of course, the people of the government are paid like massive amounts, or supposedly, or whatever, to think up like certain scenarios. I can understand why they would get the thought that they did because look what happened when World of Worlds was released originally.
Oh, right. And yes, this is
Everybody
true.
thought that shit was real.
Yep. And
So,
that you're probably right. That may be what spurred some of that. Like, hey, we can't have this mass panic anymore.
yeah, I mean, there was
It
people
caused
all
problems.
over the world and everything wigging out like, and they're not seeing anything, and which makes it even more so crazy. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was back then though. I mean, today you're only like damn near everybody's got a phone or a tablet or a laptop or a desktop around them constantly. So
Right.
you're just a search or a couple digital keystrokes or actual keystrokes away from finding out damn near anything you want in this day and age.
Yeah.
I,
True or not true? Yes.
I do agree with that part of it, but what I don't agree with is that some people spread disinformation or that they use information or knowledge for less than savory purposes.
Well, something like this, I don't think so. But
No, I mean it could be used for just about anything, like unsavory purposes, like that for this information that would be used a bit for would be to discredit a scientist or
right,
someone that is influential.
I agree
That's
with
what
that.
like yeah. It's not right that people get discredited that are in the scientific field already for some of the stuff that we discuss.
Right.
But then again, most scientists, I'm not saying all of them, there's some are out there that are more along the lines of, oh, I only see what I believe. Okay, cool. At least entertain this idea.
Right. Right.
Some will, some won't.
It's still plausible. Get out of your brain and think about it.
Yeah. Like there are multitudes of things that go on a day-to-day event, and until they're studied, they're not known about, and therefore will be
Exists.
marked down as a number of things: a delusion, a grandeur, insanity,
Drugs.
drugs.
Yep.
There's a number of things. You could have had a piece of dust get reflected light or some shit. Like I said, there's a multitude of things that could go on there.
Yep. I agree. And it's just easier to chalk it up to something simple than to actually spend
Deep dive into
time.
it.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Like I don't agree with like just sweeping something like that under the rug. But what I do agree with is that, people being afraid of stuff that they don't understand and not having the actual balls to um step up and actually
Step
do
up.
the research and everything instead
Yep.
of Yeah.
Right, I agree with that. It's like a lot of the pilots and stuff back in the day that were seeing these UFOs as they were flying. A lot of them wouldn't even come forward with it because they were afraid of losing their job or being discredited. Or,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're getting more of that stuff now because
Yes,
it's
we
a little
are.
accepted than it used to be. But think how far along we would be if it was more accepted back then when it was first becoming. It's
I
like
mean, yeah.
Roswell. When Roswell happened, the first newspaper reports came out that in the army actually said that, hey, we found this, we have this. And they turned around and said, ooh,
Yep.
yeah, it's not true. Just
Yeah,
think
that
if they
is.
would have kept rolling with that narrative, how further along we would be and more understanding.
Yes, and that's just like one of the tip of the iceberg type of things. There are things out there that we are more capable of understanding and handling the knowledge than what the
Yes,
government would like to give us credit for.
I agree. I totally agree.
So like the picture that I should have up, I don't know if you can see it or not.
Yep.
So that is like the first rendering, like artist rendering that was done on the Jersey Devil itself. Um, there are a lot of speculations and things of that. I am going to be reading off of the Atlantic County posting, I believe, of page 2 of Facts or Fiction about this cryptid. We do know that there are ties back into witchcraft and either and or Satanism.
Yes.
So like those are two possibilities of this particular being. Now, there are other things that could be like I don't know said about it, but we will get to that in a moment. Like I gotta see if I can set up a hotkey for this.
Nice.
Yeah, old gamer term. All right, so let's see here. Go back to freaking Frazzle, freaking Frazzle. Okay, so we're gonna start off with page 2. It has like let me see if I can actually get to the first page. Okay, there we go. So it's also like there are different names to this. Like as you can see, Devil in the Pines is one of them that has been referred to. So it's happened around 1700s is when this creature came into being. Um, so let's see here. Right around the southern, right around. Actually, I might have got the timeline down, like the date it was brought into being wrong. Um, so basically, it has a 1,700 square mile radius that it calls its domain. It's got streams and cedar stand like it's out in dense vegetation. Hugme Forest is where it is,
It lives.
like one of the barren wilderness. 27 varieties of orchids grow there, a bunch of different things. Um, Leeds Point, 1735, a Quaker woman gave birth to a child during a thunderstorm. The room and the candle flickered. Basically, what it's getting down to, the child was deformed. Back then, if it was deformed and certain things were going on, they automatically went to witchcraft. This woman sold her soul for dark mystic powers and therefore is giving birth to a hybrid of a human demon entity.
Wow. the payment for her.
Yeah, I mean, childbirth is already bad enough. So when this like particular thing came about, yeah, like I can only imagine the pain that this woman went through.
Oh yeah. And back then, the mothers sometimes didn't live.
Nope. So accounts of this child, like it was already deformed when it was born. It later on, like it developed characteristic like an elongated neck, wings on the wing shoulders, large horse-like head, clove feet, thick tail, according to the legend. The child was confined until it made its escape out the cellar door or up the chimney of this particular cabin or dwelling, domicile, whatever you want to call it. A young woman encounters a passing gypsy begging for food later on, 1850. So this individual refused because she was frightened. The gypsy cursed her for her refusal. 1850, curse forgotten. The girl gave birth to the first child, a male. He became the devil that fled into the woods. October 1830, in resident of Vienna, New Jersey, a Mr. John Villant entertained his child with a mask he made, a mask of a monstrous face. It became yearly tradition to adopt the local townsman. Popularity grew, repeated at late October, parents and children alike putting on scary faces and costumes. All right, so that is loosely what sounds like a different variation of how the feast of Samhain came around, which that is actually a pagan tradition, a holiday. It is one of the festivals that is celebrated during one of the harvests. The second it is the last harvest, but not the last of the year for celebrations.
Okay.
Um, it is the last of like the actual harvest, like everything you brought into the storehouse and everything back then. There were also other traditions that were done during this time. There were jack-o'-lanterns, candy was passed out, costumes, things of that nature. All those were done to ward off a particular demon, Samhain, which was known to give powers to people that would sell their souls to him or
Wow.
her. Um, because this demon basically was the creator of every dark caster that you could probably think about and then some. I can neither can confirm or deny that. So don't go out trying to sacrifice something to summon this being.
Please don't.
No, I don't want to have that kind of bad mojo on my hand. I already got enough from this lifetime with some of the BS I pulled.
Yeah.
Let's leave that.
Imagine.
Let's leave trying to summon a demonic entity out of this. For one, there's a whole lot of work involved, and two, there's a whole other lifetime of karma you would have to pay back.
Right, right.
And plus, he can only be summoned onto this earth one time a year, and that's during the feast. One night he can walk the earth. So if you do it
Okay.
outside of that, you're wasting a lot of energy and probably some other things like money to buy the resources to do this.
Right.
All right, so citing like devil's deeds, tales of the devil's exploits abound. He had taken variety of forms because of the devil. Crops have failed, cows have stopped giving milk, and droughts ensured. He blew off the tops of trees, boiled streams. He was blamed for all the loss of livestock. Believed the devil appeared every 7 years. Otherwise, others have said he foreshadowed disasters foretold of war.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know exactly if he's been seen anytime late as of late. To my knowledge, he hasn't been seen for quite some time, which kind of makes me wonder
Yeah.
if he hasn't finally kicked the proverbial can
Right, right. That,
or got dispatched. Either way, like he either's one way or another, he hasn't been seen.
hmm.
Citing the devil. Prominent citizens or government officials are among many who have witnessed sightings of the creature, including businessmen, postal officials, policemen, and who have been seen, heard the creature, or saw his tracks left in the snow. The marks began to change from local folklore to devil's pers- presence in regional culture. Joseph, whatever, the brother of Napoleon, oh great, former king of Spain, reported to have seen the devil. Incident took place in Thorntown, New Jersey, where he was game hunting in nearby woods. Infamous Captain Kidd returned to have buried treasure, and Burnet Bay legend have beheaded one of his men to guard forever buried his forever accounts. The claim that the headless pirate was the Jersey Devil became friends. Wow, that's kind
That's
of a
crazy.
bold statement. The devil chased the in Clayton, New Jersey. The devil was chased on by a posse on the edge of a wooden area. The devil fled into the wood. The posse, afraid to pursue him, halted and declared, "You are the devil, rattle your chains." Basically, they were telling him to manifest himself again.
Oh shit.
The
Asking for
devil,
trouble.
the, yeah, like if this thing's an actual demon, I wouldn't do that. Like, yeah,
Yeah, just leave it alone. Just
yeah,
just
or at
leave.
least don't patronize it.
Right, right.
The devil's taste varies. He's seen something or other with a mermaid in 1870. He's reputed to have had ham and eggs breakfast with the Republican Judge French, but the devil is not known to have specific political learnings. The devil's sightings have covered great geological distances from whatever to whatever in 1895 New York border to 1990 or 1899. Glacier City in 1909 until tales of the devil passed through word of mouth. However, published police and newspaper accounts during the famous week of January 1909 took the story that the devil from a belief to basically a authentic folk legend and different sightings one a week for a period told the devil sailing across Delaware River to Maryland, Pennsylvania to Delaware. Newspapers articles created near panic in the region.
Wow.
And that is why a lot of rules have gone into like, and not so much like rules you always have to follow, but more like guidelines to be a
Right.
more safer journalist. Because stuff like this, like stuff has happened where there has been full scale riots and stuff because
Yeah.
of newspapers. Not to mention, newspapers have amplified stuff from that have happened that weren't as bad to like, yeah,
Right. Magnifying, making a mountain out of a molehill when it's really not that bad.
yeah. So like professors from Philadelphia, experts from the Smithsonian Institute thought the devil had been a prehistoric creature from the Jurassic period. Had the creature survived in the nearby limestone caves, and they're saying it's a pterodactyl or a plesiosaurus.
Huh.
New York scientists thought something else, a marsupial cannabis. Don't quote me on the pronunciation, but basically we're looking at like several different species that they're saying right off the bat are extinct.
Right.
Because it literally says here, natural science in Philadelphia could not locate any record of a living of dead species resembling the Jersey Devil.
Hmm.
The search was on whatever this person's last name is to Robert D. The only reason I say that is because I cannot pronounce it. Who works at the zoo, offered a $10,000 reward for the Jersey Devil's capture. The new reward, the reward remains uncollected. Animal trainer and Ark, Ark Street Museum in Philadelphia had their own idea. A publicity proposes that the creature, a devil, from a kangaroo painted on green stripes, added a set of false wings. A later theory, a Sandy Hill crane. Wow, this thing again?
The cranes. It's always back to man.
Yeah, first a kangaroo and now a crane. Wow. The same crane as the Mothman. It kind of makes me wonder,
It's
like,
that.
is the same person that saw the Jersey Devil that said it was a crane a time traveler? I mean, I don't believe in
Hey
coincidences
man,
at all.
just tell them it's a bird. They'll be all right.
Oh,
That's
that
what it
thing you
sounds
saw?
like to
It
me.
was a giant bird. Yes,
It
it was a
was a
giant
giant
bird
bird.
humping that woman in your bedroom. Let's see if somebody buys that one.
Right, right.
Like, wow. Like,
Blame
and
it
the
on the
people
bird.
that, like, some of these, like, back then, are probably more believable because there was less known about the world, but still.
Right. But still.
So devil has been suggested to be blending of human and devil are Gothic gargoyles. The Devil War began in the region about 1735, shortly after Ben Frank's furious story for Philadelphia Gazette of Bourbon County of witchcraft trial. Oh, great. Early folk believed that belief was often at odds with religious or scientific doctrine of the period. All right, so like they're basically the Abominable Snowman, like Jersey Devil, Loch Ness Monster, all 1973, gained worldwide, gained national-wide attention from feature films entitled "The Legend of Boggy Hollow." In 1996, reported the Berlin-based Cosmic Comics. The creature JD was based on the Jersey Devil who protects the environment and searches for truth. Wow, that is so a 1970s, 1960s type of thing to say for a hero.
Yeah.
Okay, so page 4, we're going to skim even more so. the state demon Walter Edge, twice governor of the state, was quoted as saying, "When I was a boy, I was never threatened with a boogeyman. We were threatened with the Jersey Devil. Morning, noon, and night, periodic sightings and theories were probably continued for generations to come, or at least the Jersey Devil emerges from the mists of Pine Barrens himself to tell us his own story." So, like 1983, there was something written on him or a sighting. Like it goes up to 1996. Was
Really?
another thing. All right, Newmark, New Jersey, Historic Society, Volume X, Number 4, 1973, Page 1, Section 4, labeled Crossroads. Folklore and Folk Life of New Jersey, New Brunswick, New Jersey. Rigorous University Press, 1983. Mother Leeds Curse. World and I, November 1995, Volume 10, Issue 11, page 202. And it goes on. 1939 was Farrell Winters Project in New York. Hastings House. A Haunted Place, A Beautiful House, 1994, volume 136, issue 11, page 20. As you can tell, there's been plenty of study done on this.
Right.
And with that, I believe we will draw this particular section to an end. And we will pause here for now with this, and we will be back shortly after a short little recess or break or intermission, whichever three you'd like to pick from. So, later dudes and dudettes, rock on, the works.